Hi there, John Dovey, coming at you with another poem that was written exactly a year ago today, at a moment last year when the lockdown had been lifted a little bit for the first time, and one of the things that were open in the first place were garden centres, which seemed a bit strange, and that stuck in my mind, and that coincided with, I think, a VE Day celebration or something of that nature. So there was a kind of wave of odd patriotism. And so I wrote this poem, and it's called A Dream of Little England. Thrilled by the newfound chance of leisure, I took myself off to wander in pleasure in search of a place I thought that I'd forgotten, that strange heart of little England, now so strangely misbegotten. It was a spring day, glorious and true, hawthorn in lush blossom and sky of searing blue. I lay down on a hilltop earthwork to survey the scene below, and I think I must have dozed a while to the croak of the corvid crow. I dreamt of the garden centre open at last, though Asian medics are still dying. Surely England will be all right if our hanging baskets are still flying. But it was like the scene after the zombie apocalypse. Dead-eyed patrons and anxious masked matrons had ravaged that bucolic scene. Seedlings were scattered, begonias battered, and an ICU blinked on the village green. It was then that a funeral cortege rolled past, though nobody seemed that aware. The ticket collector from the train station had died in intensive care. Apparently she'd been spat on, a victim of racist attack, because although she died of the virus, the ticket collector was black. But in home base and in hobbycraft, as long as we're 2 metres apart, we can get started on scale models again of great victories from the past. We can turn our bunting into face masks for Union Jack protection. Sure, the virus will be defeated by the powers of imperial protection. I was trying to wake up, but this quarantine stuff seemed to keep me under its spell. I knew I had to get out of here, but this was never going to end well, and then I came upon it, under some white cliffs near the sea, the vast, dark lake of history that is still haunting me. We can see ourselves reflected in its boiling surface and hear the echo in its waves of a million vengeful curses against our pathetic self-importance and unrealistic worth, the sickness carried in our hearts from once ruling half the earth. Twisted shadows of the puffed-up popinjays who got us into this terrible mess float up from the toxic soup of its sulphurous depths. They were strutting about in victory when they should have been seeing the signs. They were going it alone for little England, whilst our safety was undermined. No sooner glimpsed than fading, they sunk out of my sight, and I tried to shake myself awake to get over this horrible fright. But this nightmare is set to continue. There are months yet to play out, more confusion and more worry, a never-ending stream of doubt. This heart of little England, so strangely misbegotten, will we ever escape it and leave it properly forgotten?